Yorkshire Carnegie away on the back of a draw last week, but they've come here absolutely to entertain their crowd. It's a cold, brisk Friday evening, but the best place to be is out there on the pitch. So they're definitely going to attack this game and hopefully entertain the crowd.
And what about this slope? It's quite famous in championship terms. They reckon it runs about 11 feet to 11 feet in the corner. It's a difficult place to get out and play some rugby if you're not used to it.
Yeah, exactly. It used to be the playmakers who know exactly where to be on the pitch, that when Bedford do get a grip of the game, and they most certainly will get a grip of the game, they know exactly what to do. It's a really interesting pitch to play on because you do have a noticeable slope, and an attacking team who aren't used to it, it can take a little bit of time to adjust to it. But I've been promised that Hartpury are coming here to attack, so fingers crossed it's running rugby rather than kicking rugby.
Well, let's look at the championship rugby. It's been really good at the moment, and we've got some highlights from last weekend from round 9. Let's have a look at those right now. Let's look at the full rundown of results, and in particular the two teams tonight. Bedford Blues, that draw up at Castle Park at Doncaster was a good one.
It was indeed. They had a chance to win it with a drop goal at the end, didn't want to go for it. They're happy going to Castle Park, a difficult place to go, which makes for a really interesting table looking at this now. So quite a congested middle third, which is where our attention is for this evening. Hartpury so close on so many of their games. You see their points difference been just 15. They are that close to winning games, and certainly Bedford, a team that like to score. They've got a plus 42 point differential, which means that they're always looking to score tries. Perhaps more attention needs to be put on defending them.
No tries for Hartpury last weekend. Will that be milling around in the minds this week?
Absolutely. So they come into this game with one specific objective, and that's to score some points. They know their defence is capable, as we've seen time and time again this year, but they want to really impress with ball in hand. All about the bonus points as well. Look at that right-hand side of the table there. They count for a lot. So taking Hartpury at 9th, they could well be at 4th or 5th if they got a few of those victories in, rather than just losing by 3 points, agonisingly close. But one thing's for sure, these two teams, they love to play rugby.
And looking at that top 4, and there's not much between them. Bedford Blues a couple of weekends having a very good win a couple of weekends ago against Nottingham here. They are trying to get as high up the league table as they possibly can.
They are, and it's a really competitive environment. Everyone thought Bristol would be running away from it, but they're far from it. It does very much look like the top 4 teams are settled and looking strong. And you've got to include Bedford in that. They've only lost to Ealing and Bristol, lost to Carnegie, who are slightly beneath them. Other than that, the draw is their only blip on their CV. So Bedford impressing the countrywide.
Let's have a look at the other fixtures in round 10 of the Green King IPA Championship. Bristol at home to Nottingham. Trailfinders against Doncaster. That should be a good game. Jersey and Yorkshire, your old side, trying to get back on their feet a little bit with that one. Richmond and Cornish Pirates should be interesting. And then down the bottom, Rotherham Titans playing London Scottish.
Yeah, a bit of a basement battle down there. But it's really interesting to see the Bristol-Nottingham game for people who aren't particularly up to date with the championship news, there is no playoff system this year, so it is first past the post. So that game in particular is very, very important, as is second versus fifth. But for us, the entertaining one, I have no doubts, will be this evening.
That's good to hear. We picked the right fixture this evening. And let's look at the home form for Bedford Blues, because they do play some entertaining rugby. They have lost. That fixture against Bristol stands out like a sore thumb. But they do like to throw the ball about and score tries.
Yeah, I'm going to hit you with some ridiculous statistics now, Sam. You ready for this? They've got an average of 32 points for in games, however 28 against. Take away that Bristol hammering, it goes down to 22 points against them. So still, as we say, their attack is more than capable, but their defence perhaps needs a little bit of work.
Well, let's look at the tries from last week as well, because they were pretty special. This is the Blues keeping it close. They've improved their forward pack, and they've enjoyed a little bit more prevalence with their forward pack.
Yeah, and as a back, I got to say, there's nothing much special about that one. But it's what you need to see, the mixture of the big boys mixing it up and the backs finishing it. He, for me, is the key man on the ball there, Jared Williams. He is an absolute bull of a man. You get the link play, you get the fast guys with the ball in hand. Like we say, they like to score specifically on a pitch that they know inside and out.
And I like the look of this back three as well. It's got a mix of experience and the likes of Elliot Clements-Hill is a new boy, but Chris Chekai as well. He's been around the block.
He has. He's my age, shamefully I have to say. He's been around the block. He's the old boy. He was one of the most promising Welsh players until he broke his femur. So aside from the fact he's had a bit of a rough run with injuries, he is someone ball in hand. He is awesome to watch.
Good stuff. It should be very enjoyable. The Hartpury College recent results, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, there isn't much in it, and they will be kicking themselves that they haven't won more of the games that they've played.
Yeah, so close. Anytime you see an L there, you're not going to see many points in between their score and the opponents. Winning quite a few games, they weren't expected to do anything else other than survive this year. For them to be thriving in the championship does show how this league can be played. Now, worth mentioning, they are as high as you can get in rugby without it being your full-time job. And that's absolutely admirable to say, because as well as being rugby players, they're also getting degrees or even have jobs, and that is commendable.
And they've also got the mixture of Gloucester players as well, and well, not just Gloucester, a lot of their players who come through Hartpury College end up in the Premiership.
Exactly, and their coaching experience really getting some good capture as well. John Goodridge leading the charge for them, the backs with Cornwell adding to John Barnes, who's overseeing it. So really it's one of these clubs that is developing players, which for me is the sole point of this championship. Make sure that when people are coming to play in this, it's for a reason. It's to either improve or potentially get picked up by the Premiership teams.
Well, let's have a look at their game last weekend, and well, let's look at this game, Cornish Pirates versus Hartpury, and this shows that Hartpury can throw the ball about, and they're a dynamic side.
Yeah, this team, for no one that knows their championship rugby, they went 30 wins from 30 games last year. They got promoted, and as a result are playing with such confidence and ability that is contagious. It's what people want to see. It's what the teams want to play. Everything about this Hartpury team is about enjoying their rugby.
And this sort of place, Bedford Blues, who like to play that, it sort of instills a belief of let's play rugby with the backs.
Exactly. Whenever you watch Barbarians rugby, it is contagious. It's something that you want to be part of. They want to entertain. They know the cameras are on them worldwide, which is a rare thing in today's broadcasting. So definitely they want to be entertaining friends, family, and ultimately each other out there on the field.
Let's hear from the coaches then. First up, we spoke to Bedford Blues Director of Rugby, Mike Rayer.
Well, second Friday night lights in a row for you here at Bedford, Mike. How does it change things playing 7:45 on a Friday?
Yeah, well, you know, we've been training in the evenings over the years, so it's probably when we're at their optimum, I guess, because we're used to training at this time. But a little bit different for the fans, I guess. The local rugby clubs and football clubs can come and watch us, so we get a different demographic in, and obviously frees up people to watch the internationals on the weekend as well. But the boys enjoy it. It's different. It's a little bit dewy tonight, obviously, but you know, we've had some great evenings here.
And speaking of enjoyment, you're a team known for throwing the ball around. Are we expected to see the same again this evening?
Yeah, if conditions allow. Obviously, you know, we want to try and exert a bit of pressure on this. It looks a young Hartpury team, so we want to first and foremost get a bit of field position and hopefully put a bit of icing on the cake. Oh well, maybe if anyone knows how to play it, it's surely yes. But there's no wind to speak of tonight, so that's great. So as you say, hopefully, you know, if the ball's not too greasy because of the dew, I think both sides will look to play a bit.
We'll heard it here first. We're going to see some attacking rugby and fingers crossed plenty of tries. Thanks for your time, Mike.
No problem. Cheers.
And let's hear from Hartpury's head honcho. John Barnes spoke to us a little bit earlier.
Well, 11 out of 22 of your players are current or ex-students, even 2 of the Bedford players. Is that something you're proud of?
I think so, yeah. We always wanted to make sure going to the Championship was a vehicle for young students and ex-students to come back and play and challenge themselves at a high level of rugby.
You set the bar quite low this season. You wanted to just survive. You've pushed every single team close, only losing in a few points in some of the games. How are you happy with the season gone so far?
I think we started really well. I think Bristol first game of the season gave us a load of confidence that we can compete with even the best team in the league. And we've had some close ones that we've won and close ones that we've lost, and we still haven't conceded 4 tries yet. But I think tonight will be a massive challenge with a very good attacking Bedford side.
You mentioned tries. You didn't get any last week. What's the plan in store today, John?
Well, we certainly go for look for tries. Last year we relied on a lot of tries to win games, and it's a lot harder at this level, we know. But certainly we'll go out there and try and play tonight. It's better conditions than last week, certainly.
Well, we look forward to it. Fingers crossed for an entertaining game. Best of luck, John. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much.
Well, the coach is there, very excited, and you can see the team's already out as well. Rob, your thoughts on this? Which way does it go?
I think it's going to be a really tight game. People not expecting Hartpury to do much. The local fans here, I think they're going to be shocked. There's going to be plenty of flowing rugby. High-scoring game. Fingers crossed the ball stays dry. 35-30, I want to be seeing. Get these basketball scores going.
Our referee this evening, just making sure everyone's ready to go. Mike Hudson is the man in the middle. And his whistle gets us underway, and it's the boot of Jacob Perry, who's going to lift the ball. And Hartpury playing down this famous slope. Bedford with it all to do.
The famed slope, we're going to hear that a lot. Sam talk about this bottom corner, having been down there a few times as a player. It is difficult to get out of. Not much of a breeze, but you know they're going to be attacking the ball with the degree of incline behind them, and Hartpury will definitely attack it.
Forward comes Smith, a good take under pressure. First start for him for Hartpury this evening. Into the action, Charlie Chapman. And there's the presence of Dan Murphy making himself known. Hartpury going around the corner. Alex Gibson into the action as well. Chapman feeds this back line. An opportunity for Luke Eves, more than familiar at Championship rugby. Premiership rugby as well for the former Bristol man.
When you see the influence of Murphy already, look at him. It's like he's from the Game of Thrones with his hair bouncing around. That's what you need, your big men, to get in early. Ooh. Talk about big men.
That was a big hit in the midfield. Ed Taylor with it, but Hartpury still got the ball, and away it goes. Oh, looked a little bit forward. The referee says play on, and that's Akil Smith, who's wide out there on the right-hand side. Hartpury come in as a man just taking attention. It's Rob Langley, who's receiving a bit from the physio, and there's Murphy. As you say, he's unmissable with those flowing locks. Chapman, Hartpury asking all the questions in this opening few exchanges. And they've gone laterally, backwards and forwards across the pitch.
Yeah, a bit stagnant now, Sam. This is where you need to think about how you can break down attack. Going into the defence, you've got to get the quick ball. One man carries, no one at the ruck, and that's when turnovers happen.
And Bedford have done that, and this is where Bedford can be a little bit dangerous with the turnover. Dixon, he kicks the ball downfield. The ball sits up a little bit, and they scramble for it. It's a little knock-on from Ducker, the Cornishman, on this left wing, very close to us. And the referee gives it, and that'll be job done as far as Bedford are concerned.
Yeah, good defensive set. They'll be positive there. When you start these games on a cold Friday night, you've got to get yourself into it. Hartpury's certainly done that. But what about those hits from the Bedford players? You know that if you're a defender, you've got to put your shots in early. If Hartpury get a chance of getting an attacking game into it, it'll be a long evening for Bedford.
How crucial is the 8, 9, 10 for Bedford? Playing at home, Jared Williams has been playing very well. Dixon and Hooley's back as well. It's a good spine.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need, Sam. You've got the power, you've got the ability, you've got the direction that Dixon will give. He is a little terrier of a 9. Many people watching him over the years know how frustrating he can be as a player, because he just gets into you. But when he gets his game going, he's quick around the base. He's going to have a platform. Just see the size of the Bedford number 8 blue man there, Jared Williams. He gets carrying. People will notice him for sure, and Hooley has then got a direct play.
Lee Dixon looking to put this into the scrum. It's a free kick, and Williams will tap and go, and he's into the Hartpury defence, and he bounces the first person off. Dixon is looking for the ball. Out it goes. Camilo Perilli Acampo into the action. Former Ealing man, very much at home, newly married man as well this season, and out wide, and a bit of space, and this is where they're dangerous. Out wide on the left-hand side, they scramble in field. Dixon keeps it going, brings in Penny. Dixon again, quick ball, finds the biggest man in Championship Rugby, Will Carrick-Smith. Dixon again, oh, just knocked on, and Hartpury will clear their lines. Oh, no, they won't. They'll give it a go. They'll give it a run and try it on. Ducker into the action. Trying to cue people up and get it right. Alex Ray trying to sort his defensive line out. The ball has been hooked over the left-hand shoulder and it is out. And Hartpury look to breathe again. A little sniff of how dangerous the Blues can be.
Yeah, and the crowd absolutely loving it. But you see in there, both sides, a little bit of attention needed out wide for the Hartpury defence, because Bedford got really easy down the outside there. But that's what you want to see, playing with the width. Their back three are brilliant. We mentioned before, Chris Chekai, the fullback, lovely hands from him. Huttler with a pace, and certainly at Clement Hill, someone's looking to impress. So when this Bedford back three get it, they will make yards.
Lindsay with the line-up, accurate stuff to Ed Taylor. And it's a good position. They're just trying to find the ball, trying to find their way forward.
Don't would be too happy people pulling my shirt up in the ball there. It's pretty cold.
Exposing more than you need to on a night like tonight. Full moon, if there's a crescent moon tonight, but there you go.
Well, Jared Williams will not be happy with that shot. We mentioned how big he is, seeing a bit too much of him there. But that just shows the power that this pack have. They're actually a far more experienced outfit. We said about how integral the student side of the world is for this Hartpury team, but Bedford are seriously experienced campaigners. You look along the age of the players, 27, 29, 24, 31 even. Alex Ray as a player coach. With that comes experience. The game of rugby, very simple game. These big men you're seeing walk into the screen, they're the ones who dictate if you win or not, and expect to see a big push for the line here.
Well, the Blues are rather famous for running the ball, but you would have thought from this sort of range, if they can get it right. Up goes Carrick-Smith, all 6'10" of him. Down he comes, and the wedge is formed. They're going to roll forward, and this home crowd at Goldington Road are going to get behind them. Dixon pushing them on. How have Hartpury done? Oh, they've come away with the ball. That's a brilliant steal by Hartpury. And out to the east, they keep it short, and they're going to try and get position before they clear. Chapman just trying to find a bit of space, and he kicks over his shoulder, and the pressure is relieved, and the Blues will be disappointed with that. That was a great steal from Hartpury.
Yeah, that was outstanding. To defend a driving maul is one thing, but to steal the ball from it is something else. Will Safe there, I believe, in the middle of the mixer. He got amongst it. He managed to get his hands on the ball and rip it out of that Bedford pack, and that is commendable. The clearance kick, known as a box kick over the shoulder, very difficult one to do, but you can see the yardage it has gained, albeit it's still Bedford ball. We know they like to attack. Ollie Dodgy's looking primed. Let's see how they go with this platform.
Lindsay again, quicker off the top now. Dixon straight into Dodge. Dodge running hard, running well, almost, yeah, taken down in the midfield. Blues pour forward. Still good ball. Hooley needs to be quick hands, and looks as though it might have been knocked on there. The referee's playing advantage. There's a bit of space behind. Down that left wing goes Clement Hill, is it, or Huttler? And they'll come back. Yeah, Chekai and Huttler on that left side, doing well, but the penalty is for those hands in.
Well, you see the man in screen there, Smith. He's a lucky man. Many a fight have been started in a touch session from a slap down such as that. If you're a winger and you fly in to try and stop it, you've got to do it. That was a slap down. He's very lucky not to be yellow carded and having 10 minutes on the sideline.
Well, Will Hooley goes to the corner again, and this is another opportunity for them.
This line down.
The team lists will give you, here they are, the forwards on the left hand side, the backs on the right. We mentioned those three: Jared Williams at 8, Lee Dixon at 9, and Will Hooley at 10.
Advantage in the air.
Oh, Blues have stolen it through. Jared Williams tumbling towards the line. Can he get over it? Oh, the ball is up in the air. That's not where they want it, and they're repelled.
Yeah, got it.
And it's another penalty.
15.
Really good defence again there from Hartpury, managing to stop it. You can see, we mentioned Jared Williams, the melted wheelie bin, trying to get his way toward the try line, went a bit too high with it, and desperate defence, but the indiscretion had already been committed by Bedford.
It's another penalty that they've kicked to the corner. They talk about journeys into the red zone. Blues have got to come away with something here, Rob.
They do indeed. You expect to see this stay tight. Imagine having someone 6'10" in your team. There's not going to be many lineouts he loses, but he's actually lifted in that occasion.
It's Alex Ray that goes up. They fooled us with that one, and through they roll. This is looking ominous. Dixon is smacking his man on the back, trying to get it going. Dixon goes in as well. A little dart from Dixon. Is he over? Needs the ball down. There's hands in the air, and there's a try being given. Referee Mike Hudson says the Blues have done enough, and they open their account.
Yep. The platform we knew was going to happen. Admirably defended so far from Hartpury, but just one too many pushes there. Dixon already in the referee's ear, as you'd expect. But it's a brave decision as a 9 to go from there, because if that ball does not come out or he doesn't score it, there's not many options. It has to be stayed around the tight area, picked and gone, as we saw there. Big men picking from that far away. He was never going to be stopped. Perillo Campo there. He's a big man, isn't he?
He is a big man, and as you say, difficult to sort of get up to speed. But once he's up to speed and angling at the line, there's usually only one result. Will Hooley is called for the... Well, he's not called for the tee. He's been given the tee and will convert this. Hooley back in the side. Speaking to me before the game, he's feeling confident about the way he's back in the side. And eyeing this one up down the barrel of the gun for the extra points. And he's successful, and the Blues at 7 points to the good, and opening 10 minutes it's kind of gone the way the home side would have wanted. Yeah, and forwards for Bedford, we're very happy. 3 platforms. Whilst it was defended initially, it shows what their game plan's going to be. Hopefully it will break up a little bit, see a bit more width and expansion, but certainly attacking lineouts 10 metres out. You can't be having many of those, Hartpury, otherwise it might be a long evening. It's Perry who lifts the ball into the night sky. Championship Rugby on the Championship Rugby website and on the Facebook page at England Rugby. It's often great when you mention about the Facebook link there, Sam, how many conversations can happen around the world. People coming in from Iraq, Afghanistan, obviously military big influence, speaking to some Bedford fans with Australian family no less will be tuning in. So fingers crossed we'll get a bit of feedback, open up the conversations, and we'll try and do our best to paint a few pictures. It's worldwide here, and we're delighted to be here. It is a little bit cold, but this is rugby to warm the cockles of your heart. It really is. Hartpury, take it in, off the line out. Keep it close. It's warm in there, isn't it, Rob? Yeah, a lot of friction going on in there. I'm sure they'll be nice and toasty, grafting away there. Really interesting how these driving mauls can happen. Think of another sport where you have a human shield. Really good tactics from the forwards here to give their backs a chance. Chapman will release these backs and they run straight and hard, and it's ease. Oh, it's James Williams, who was playing at 10 last week, who does the damage in that part. Check-eye. Manages to knock that backwards and release Hutler. Hutler keeps his feet really well and then finds the offload. Clement Hill not with the accuracy off the boot. Dixon says it's okay, but they came forward quite quickly there. Yeah, really good play. Once again, we're seeing how potent these back three can be. Coaches looking on to be pretty unhappy with their defence, their Hartpury coaches, but if that kick did stay in field, it would have been an out-and-out foot race, as all the backs were committed to that phase previously. So good intent from Bedford. I like how they're playing. They're mixing it with the big men. They're playing with a little bit of width and executions there, apart from the ending kick, which is why we've now got a line-out. We talked before the game about the lack of tries last week for Hartpury. Is that crucial that they get a try, or is it points at the moment to sort of build that lead? I think it's both. You know, they want to be playing expansive rugby, and with that tries, every team tries to score, but the thing that usually undoes them is they do it in the wrong place. They want to be down in this slope, using that bottom 22 as a real area to attack from, knowing that errors will come from it. Dan Murphy tries to make the best of it. The ball's on the ground and it is a bit wet this evening. The dew has come down and made it a little bit creasy. A real premium on hands this evening. Chapman feeds the back line and they keep it straight. Chapman again. Backs over the top. Perry, little dab into this area that's being patrolled by Check-Eye. Check-Eye's big left boot just off the side of it, and Hartpury have got a bit of space here. Wilcox into Perry. Perry thinks there's a bit of space over the back of Ryan Hutland there is, and that's a good field position.
They must have been listening, using that slope well in that bottom corner. Really clever play off broken field, just to probe it down at the corner. At the worst, they tried to keep it infield and kick it and get the ball back. At the best, it's a very difficult line out for Tom Lindsay, pretty much 15-20 metres away from his try line, with the big tiring pack now having to execute their first phase.
Can we talk about lights, floodlights? How difficult, how different is it playing in the evening as regards where the lights are and when the kicks go up?
It's massively different. So when you get to a ground, you usually spend about half an hour or so just checking out different things. Obviously the slope here at Bedford, but the floodlights can be monumental. If you get a high bomb and get the ball going directly in the floodlights, you're blinded by it. It's like having 6 suns directly glaring down here. It makes a big difference.
Lindsay's got to be accurate with this. He finds Taylor. And the wedge again. Dixon will come in and tap and say, give me the ball when you're ready. Dixon, he does make ground. And Akil Smith over on that right hand side thinks better of going for a quick one. Dixon's influence has been really big for the Blues. It was a very good signing, and you can see that he just, it's not so much his know-how, but just his influence on the pitch on other players. Yeah, I mean, incredible. You know, he's 32. Okay, he's not the youngest player here, with 18 caps behind him. 250 games gets you a whole lot of experience, and moments like that, a box kick over your shoulder to get it to the halfway line, that's impressive. Hartpury into the midfield through the work of big Ian Grieve, the former Bristol man. Chapman misses his man, and this is not what they'll want. Chasing. Akil Smith is trying to make the best of a bad job, and he comes forward, makes a few extra yards, perhaps more than he should. Out wide. Through goes James Williams. Kicked all of the points last week in that loss at Richmond. Or against Richmond, should I say. Oh, that's a good steal, is it? Oh, just knocked it on. Good body position. This Ben Adams. I was going to talk to him, talk to you about him, because he's an Australian sevens player. I'm not sure you would have come across him, but sevens is a way that a lot of players are coming into the game, and a lot of youngsters. We see them there. It's a great opportunity in which to enjoy your rugby. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, to think about the youngsters coming through, it's a game where you get your hands on the ball. Far be it from me to pitch the game of sevens, Sam, but you know, it's certainly something that can get you a high skill set. Played at ridiculous pace, you're going to get fit from it. But you know, when we look at the game of sevens and growing, he's got to capture the youth, hasn't he? He's got to try and get these kids thinking, I want to play expansive rugby. But that for me is exactly what the championship does. You watch this, having perhaps not watched much rugby, this is so fast flowing. Already in the first 15 minutes, the ball's been in play for round about 12 of it. That's what you want to see. Flowing rugby, ball in hand, big men, set piece, everything. Capturing rugby is some of the best rugby you'll watch. Well, there we go. If we live up to that this evening. I don't know. They're still playing, you know, it's everything there. Well, it's a good scrummage from Bedford. They've come round, and Dixon is spoiling that one. Carrick Smith almost intervening as well. Dixon's really got the bone between his teeth at the moment. He's really going for it. He's fired up at the moment. He's just all over it, isn't he? He's one of these players. Usually it's an open side. You come off the pitch thinking, who the hell was that guy? He's the one that's always chopping away. It's the way he plays. He always has done. Interestingly, he had a little bit of an exploration with sevens. It didn't last too long, but you know, he's one of these players that will give it his all, and his experience is absolutely pivotal to this team. But actually, his enthusiasm is something that probably rubs off just as much, because he just gets in amongst it all the time. There's Ben Adams, the Australian, played a season at Cambridge, made a real name for himself. Well, he doesn't have to buy any beer over in Cambridge at the moment. They absolutely loved him over there, and making a name for himself at Bedford Blues as well. Stay 10. Lindsay, another line out, in good position. Prime piece of real estate this for Bedford Blues. Forward they roll. Dixon again, slapping people. Through goes Lindsay, defend. His old mate from Gloucester, Dan Murphy, in attention. The referee's whistle has gone. Dixon again, in everyone's ear. Yeah, expect that all game. Once again, we're seeing the similar pattern of events. Hartpury penalty, Bedford kick to the corner, absolute control of this game, albeit not necessarily the scoreline as yet. You feel it, playing this slope, you know that it's going to be a hell of a thing for the second half, and this Hartpury team at the moment just not quite on it. You've got to start well at Bedford, certainly. Difficult place to come. Lots of clubs have come here and struggled. And if you don't start well, it makes it all the more difficult. Hartpury in a little bit of a lull at the moment, a bit of a dip. They started well, but have lost the last few games, and Bedford will know that. Great result for them last weekend. I say a great result, a draw, but Castle Park and Doncaster is a difficult place to go. And then 2 weekends ago, that really good win at home against Nottingham. And out they come through Ian Grieve. He knows one way, trundles forward and takes everyone. Chapman drops the ball. Bit of a miscommunication, but Dancer is through.
Use it!
Onto the pitch and into the action, Joe Dancer.
Use it!
Chapman will just try and sort people out. Well, I thought he was going to kick, but he feeds it again.
One of the best places to attack from here, Sam. The backfield's covered. If they look for these little probing runs round the ruck, it becomes very much open out wide.
Well, the ball is bouncing around. It's been well picked up by Akil Smith. And this is Hartpury's chance. There's a little bit of space out here on the left-hand side for Hartpury. And they can run the ball, and they almost, Mike Wilcox almost gets away, but he's snagged. Oh, the ball is dropped by Walker. The England under-20 man just took his eye off the ball, and with the conditions this evening, you've got to be absolutely certain you've got the ball before you do anything else. Yeah, and we'll see it a lot unless the ball's on first phase play, like a line-out where the ball is out and out dry. It does get a bit of dew on it. I think it's actually turning to frost as we're standing on now, but those little errors really creep in. Crowd enjoying it as we always expect, and now what an attacking situation here for the Bedford team. They've loaded their open side, they've brought the blind winger open. That means there's full-on 6 men ready and loaded for Bedford to attack, with the 9 providing good balls. So difficult for Hartpury to defend, and always running down that slope means they're going to have that extra yard of pace amongst them, Bedford here. Well, Dodge a few minutes ago did some damage at the front door. They might use him as a bit of a decoy. Dixon just looks over his shoulder at his back line. Elliot Clement Hill is off his wing, as you mentioned. Hartpury haven't responded. They still have a man on the blind side. Dixon feeds it.
Use it!
Steady. There's the ball. Hooley. Dodge. A little bit of a move. There's Clement Hill into that back line, and he almost gets away from the covering tackle. Ball is being slowed down well by Hartpury.
Oh, tease it up nicely now. Big men are going to hit it up a couple of phases, and then it's fair game again. Williams carrying as he always will. 2 more hit-ups and then plenty of space out wide to play.
It's about pulling people in. Carrick Smith, there's not too many bigger than him in Championship rugby. Hooley out the back. Dodge trying to find a loose brick in the wall. Dixon and the referee gets in the way.
Yeah, it's really interesting how many players will target running at a referee. They're coached for it because you know intrinsically as a player you've got to stay out the way of the referee. If you run a really smart line back at him, the defenders can't actually do much about it. Although I would suggest to Tom Lindsay, don't run into him, run at the side of him.
Here's your one.
I was going to ask what a little break in play about the fact that we've got a player on the pitch, Lee Dixon, whose brother is now a referee. It never crossed your mind to do it? Oh, we'll have a look at this replay. Yeah, just the wrong sort of level. You were absolutely right. Finding that referee. But Lee Dixon's brother now a referee. You never fancied it, Rob? Never fancied blowing a whistle?
Definitely not. And the thought of Lee Dixon with his brother Carl refereeing would be hilarious. I think he'd be sent off in the space of 30 seconds.
Yeah, I have had people suggesting that it would be nice to have Carl Dixon, a former Bedford player, back at Goddington Road. But I just can't obviously see it being allowed to happen. But there we go. Lee, brother Lee. Oh, finds a little bit of space, a little dab into the corner house, you roll, it rolls out, it's a perfect kick, and he'll get the congratulations of his teammate, because this is exactly where Bedford want to play the game.
That's class.
When they pulled the same way, I didn't think you were going that way.
Put it on the floor, getting the members roll. A few people egging it on in that corner. Did actually hear a bit of a rumble last week about him potentially looking at the German qualification with a military baby, so he was born out there. You need to play for their 7s team to then qualify for the 15s, as he's already got capped for England, but very, very interesting conversation.
Well, we'll have a conversation at some point about nationalities, because it's a bit of a hot topic, but when they come forward, Hartpury, they're going to try and hit it up, try and give themselves a little bit of space for this exit move, this clearance kick. Chapman again finds his forwards. Moved left and then right. Chapman, I think, maybe thinking about doing this on his own. Murphy forms the guard. The ball is coming towards us. Clement Hill underneath it and thinks about a quick one, but decides against it. And Hartpury not really playing the game at the moment in the right phases or the right places that they would want to be playing.
No, and I think their accuracy's gone, their defence is hemorrhaging a little bit, but ultimately it's the penalties, the free plays they're getting ultimately. If you give the ball away through a penalty, it buys time, it builds confidence. The Bedford pack, as you can see here, are dominating this game, and they're going to keep it tight because they know they're getting fruition from it.
A little bit of movement, Taylor up, but they keep it tight. Then it goes to the back. Lindsay's got it under his wing.
Penalty advantage, silent troop.
Dixon is calling for it, nervously looking one way then the other, and they reshuffle, reform again, and then the push comes through. Then they unleash the backs, Dodge, straight running, always gets an extra yard or so does Ollie Dodge. 11th season at Bedford Blues. Hooley finding Clement Hill. There's a penalty back here, and again, you mentioned it earlier, those penalties starting to build up. Get a tally of them, and it tells a tale in the game. Look at those, the steam coming off that tee. It is a little bit cold in Bedford. It's not as cold as up north where you are. Surely it's colder up there, Rob, than down here, or is it not?
Well, they're not allowed to wear coats up north, Sam, so they're just used to it. They just get on with it.
OK, I'll stop going on about it. Here we go, Will Hooley into the corner.
Yeah.
I say that wearing about 12 layers.
I was going to say, you got 3 scarves on, Max.
And here we are once again. Look at the dominant pack we've got here. It's good to see this style of rugby, albeit as a back it did frustrate me slightly, but they've just got complete control of it, so why would you change it? Helps having a 6'10" man in there, obviously. But the Hartpury team not even really looking to compete, they're just looking to let this settle and then try and smash it.
Right to the back, and Adams rises highest.
Once.
It's illegal. And this is ominous, isn't it?
Yeah, always legal.
Rob, it looks as though we know exactly what's going to happen here with the Hartpury. They've done it well again. Is that safe again in there? He's turned it over.
Well, safe by there. He is a machine. I mean, for an open side at this day and age, to turn over a ball is pretty impressive, but to do it twice from a driving ball is outstanding. You mentioned back ball. It's the most difficult ball to try and defend because you can go open or you can go blind, which is why usually defensively there will be 2 ponds as they know, really forcing that back ball because it's difficult for the hooker to hit it. But there, Lindsay nailed it. Platform there.
I'll make sure one foot this side of the ball and make sure it's pushing.
You've just bought your team a chance to get out.
He's a skills coach at Old Patesians. That's quite a skill he's got there.
Yeah, that is a good skill. I wonder if they practiced that in a skill session. I wouldn't be too happy. Driving balls today, fellas.
Here we go then. This is where Hartpury have to play from. Deep inside their own 22. They are capable, we've seen it already in this league, this championship league. Hartpury are capable of playing their rugby. Well, that's a good push from Bedford. They're going backwards at a rate where Bedford, the ball is open. It's free. Bedford, I think, have got it. Dixon trying to reorganise his troops, get them in the right order. Barking orders, you can almost hear them from 40 yards away.
Hands up!
It's a set play. They're going to reorganise themselves and take it through the forwards to start with.
Offside.
Round the corner again they go.
Hands up.
Trying to suck Hartpury players in. In the shadow of the post, it's a penalty. There's an advantage coming.
Yeah, and you know Dixon's in the refs here saying, look how many, sir. We've said penalty after penalty. This is now the conversation. Just listening to what the ref's saying there. Just too many now. Penalty after penalty. And it just shows from the stranglehold that the pack have.
Now, the referee has spoken to them, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bedford go to the corner again and say, well, you've got to be on your best behaviour.
Okay,
so we'll put you under the ultimate test.
Are you going corner?
We have a number of balls on the pitch. Will Hooley's going to kick one of them into touch, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
I always do find it quite funny how they have to bring the fly off across to dribble 50 metres out when you could just dribble it into the touchline. But 5 metres out, ultimately, again, we're going to see probably back ball. I can see them looking primed and ready. Albeit they've got the big man. Tail end ball is perfect. They'll fly around the corner and they'll try and push it over.
Adams is at the back, peering down the corridor of the line out. Lindsay will try and find him. The moon is hanging low. And Bedford are going to try and push this through. The ball accelerates and accelerates over the line. The referee's trying to get a look at this.
Leave it.
Penalty penalty coming, he comes back out, it's not a try, and it's a card, he's gone into his pocket.
5, silence, off you go. Off you go.
He teed it up and he's done it, referee quite right there to get the yellow card out. It was middle ball there, actually not tail end ball, albeit Hartpury still didn't compete. They committed their men into it, referee deeming that it was brought down illegally, as it pretty much has to be. I mean, a human shield in front of you, there's seldom another way of stopping it.
Well, it's Charlie Beckett who's gone into the bin, the man who's on the Gloucester books.
Give the numbers, guys.
Captain the Anglo-Welsh Cup side for Gloucester a few weekends ago. Crucial man to have 10 minutes in the bin. Lindsay with this line-out for the Blues. At the front now, Taylor. It's a familiar story. Round they come, but they're up against 7 forwards rather than 8 this time. What's the result? Hands are in the air, and crucially, the referee's hand is in the air. Another try to Bedford, and it's through the forwards, and that dominance really starting to tell, Rob Vickerman.
Absolutely, and it is dominant. Time and time again we're saying it, driving more, you can't stop it. Murphy trying his best to push people around. Even the impressive Will South couldn't stop Williams there, putting the ball down with his left paw. But
thank you.
Such a big platform, such a weapon for this Bedford team. The crowd rightly appreciating how well this forward pack are doing.
Well, Jared Williams are very popular here, and it doesn't take long to work out why. The Bedford Rugby followers that follow the team around are often giving him their Man of the Match award, and you can see he's a very big part of what this Bedford side is doing at the moment.
No, big is one way of describing him. I mean, he's one of these players that always seems to get over the gain line. He was weighed in around about 125 kilograms, certainly when I was playing with him. So he's a massive man, but very agile, always getting the ball free. And that offloading game just suits this Bedford team down to a T, but ultimately he's pretty good at the graft too.
Will Hooley, once again, with his eyes on the posts for this conversion. Half an hour gone in this game. Difficult kick for the boot of Will Hooley, and it goes across the posts, and he hasn't been able to add those extra points. But I would have thought that Blues will be happy at the moment, happy with the way, not only the fact that they've got points on the board, but the way that they're controlling the game.
Yeah, and as you're a 10, as we're seeing Hooley kick it, that's exactly what you want. Let the forwards dictate it. Give them a chance, get them in the right areas, they'll do the rest. For me, the disappointing facet of this game so far is how far away Hartpury are from their usual accuracy and form.
Well, it's very difficult when things are not going your way. Small results, small moments in the game, not quite there. Maybe they can force it. They are a man down, of course. Remember, a man in the bin. Charlie Beckett, yellow card.
Yeah, use
it. Persistent infringement, and the Blues with 10 minutes left in this half will look to try and do a little bit more. That kick wasn't ideal. I think it was touched in flight, but forward comes Hutler. And knocked on eventually, and Hartpury will get an opportunity for a scrummage in the Bedford half. Hartpury, what would you be saying at the moment? Is it about trusting your processes, going back and sort of reminding yourself of what you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, I think it is. You mentioned about journey actually in that comment there, Sam, and actually you're right. They came up today, they had a horrific journey on the bus, traffic playing a part, gridlock in Milton Keynes, so everything adds up to the fact you could suggest they've just not started this game well enough, whether it be they're not quite prepared for a later kickoff, which they're not used to. I think certainly they've got to try and go back to their basics, play to their strengths, which is an attacking game, but at the moment they're just not keeping the ball for long enough to even get that far.
Well, this is a good position.
Good.
About 15 yards inside the half, but Blues have, they've robbed it. They've got a free kick off that scrummage. I'm not quite sure what it was for. Looked as though there might have been a touch on the scrum half to keep the ball in.
Scrum.
And the Blues are going to scrummage this one. That's how confident they feel at the moment. Even in their own half, they feel they're going to get the platform.
8 against 7, though, makes sense. You've got the second rower in the sin bin. You've just got to absorb it. Usually you have an option here of putting in an extra man that actually they took off.
It's coming, boys.
No, they're putting 8 into this, I think. They've got an open side and a blind side, so it should be 8 on 8.
Good crowd here at Coldington Road. Friday night, certainly a town with a rugby club so central. Friday night rugby seems to be the way forward for them. And do we have enough people in this group?
No,
you don't.
they've not got a blind side, so there is an option to go blind here, run down the short side, but the wingers come in field, so they're still backing a chance to have attacking rugby here, Bedford. Use dodge as a platform and play out the back of that.
Dixon comes across field. Hooley out wide, they're going to stretch them. It's Chekai who's always been robbed. What a good snapful that was. Hartpury have managed to get the ball back. In goes Dancer, making his way through. Almost. Ball is back into Chapman's hands. Perry out wide to Williams, who'll try and pirouette his way through. Blues are good at the moment. There's Perry, the little grubber kick through, and it's something for Chekai to go back and tidy up. His left boot of his. Off the left boot, was it? Was that Chekai back there?
It was, yeah.
How long have you got left?
And not the best clearance kick there. You think the left foot would help him go down the tram lines, as it's known, keeping it in the 5 metre channel, but that is exactly how you get back into it. Well played, Perry. Get back in that corner, put the pressure back on. They've got the ball back of a net gain of 25 metres here. So once again, we're saying,
let's go, guys.
How can this Hartpury team benefit from the platform, albeit without their second rower?
Well, this will be a bit of a steal for them. If they can get some points on the board.
Let's get the line in.
Usually it's the other way around when that happens. The opposition get an opportunity to score, but can Hartpury do something with this? It's not tidy at the line out, which means that they're going to have to try and tidy this one up. Through they come. Better. Chapman into Walker. And we're being treated to everything this evening. Ian Grieve through. Chapman again, Perry. This is Eves. And he's lost the ball. It's being dabbed around. Blues. Adams does well to grab hold of that ball. Dixon goes the other way, and Hooley will boot this one downfield. Wilcox gathers it. It is tricky, it is slippy. It has been dry, but makes it difficult. Wilcox trying to find someone, and he just drops the ball because he thought there was going to be a switch made. Clement Hill comes forward to make the tackle. We're going to go back for the scrum and the knock-on. It's those sort of unforced errors that Hartpury really don't want.
Yeah, it got a bit bitty there, didn't it? Crowd lost that little bit of energy. We're seeing a few of them still enjoying it on the sideline, but they want to be seeing these passes stick. The ball all too easily ripped off Luke Eves there. I actually thought it was exactly what was needed. Ian Greaves absolutely sitting down the defence in the midfield. Luke Eves carrying well on the back of it, and then turn of the ball. And you can see the intent this Bedford team have. They've got a jam-packed crowd here. They want to play a bit. They want to get them rocking again. And once more, we're seeing the slope play into their benefit as they got a bit of platform, with no doubt Dodge featuring once more.
Now the midfield is almost waiting for this ball. The lights shine down. The scrummages are just about ready. Dixon overseeing it. The steam rises off it. The waterbed ripples.
Use it!
Down it goes. Referee says use it. Clement Hill, first receiver. Clement Hill through the gap. Almost well marshalled by Will Safe. Blues have it still, and Jared Williams is going to bash his way through.
Still plenty of advantage.
Hooley picking his runners. One of them is Rich Lane. You've got to be careful with Lane. He's very, very slippery. Blues have lost it, but they come back again. The whistle seems to be very much in their favour at the moment.
Well, the referee will get an arm ache. The amount he's been offering penalties to this. The Bedford team just getting so much on a platform and an absolute present there. Just not needed. Beating all the way back to the scrum, I believe. And that just shows how important blindside flankers are, because Dan Murphy, one of the best scrummagers in the league, but just got absolutely nothing from him behind, and as a result, it collapsed.
A little note on that blindside flankers, because people listening in perhaps not aware of exactly where it is, and I hate to ask her back to explain what goes on in the pack, but they are kind of, as well as pushing forward, they're pushing in as well.
Yeah. Used to be a back rower, so I do know about this, and it was one of the things I was cited at, because I was obviously not the biggest back rower. I had to try a lot harder to keep my prop square. So what you find is the pressures come onto the prop, makes their bums, their hips swing out. Your sole job as a back rower is to push them back in. The back row and the second row push them forward, but keeping it tight is all important.
Blues have got this at the top of the lineup, and down they come, and the backs are straight of this pack, and they look like they're going to choose which way they're going to roll it round. And the ball has been splitted again. This is good work from Hartpury, really good work. Looks as though Henry Walker knew more about that than the referee was in. He was coming around the other side, wasn't he? He wanted that. It was very interesting, but Blues have got the ball back, and I thought Hartpury had done enough to disrupt it again then.
Yeah, they tried a really interesting tactic there, and to any viewers who aren't probably well versed with seeing the driving wall, if you don't contest it, then it stays as a tackle. An individual player can then run round and sack or collapse that tackle. They tried it, but they weren't quite sure about it. You've got to buy in as a team. You see sometimes the old Italians do it in tactics like this, where they're mixing it up, and rightly so, because at the moment they're just not competing, trying to stop it.
Well, this is again good position for Bedford. We perhaps haven't seen the running backs of Bedford, but certainly the forward dominance, and we've got a man coming in on the blind side now. He picked it up.
Luke Eves, number 13 on his back, so he's trying to keep Dan Murphy in tight. He can't give away penalties, so Murphy would have been in his ear saying, look, I need someone keeping me straight here. The downside is you've now got 6 backs, so you bring an open side winger in, as they probably will do. It is a very, very difficult thing to defend with just 4 backs against an attacking running 6 from Bedford. So whilst they've got the security of a scrum, they're now massively exposed in the back line.
Do you practice those sort of things as a team? You manufacture the situation?
Yeah, you do, often in training, because if you've got that much time to train, you try different scenarios as they're known. You take one back down, you take one hooker down, or even a second row as we're seeing here. So definitely a tactic that many teams are used to trying to defend. Easy in practice, not so much in reality.
Dixon feeds this scrum. It goes down. Referee is happy because Dixon get his hands on the ball. Clement Hill feeds Dodge back against the tide, but repelled eventually by the Hartpury College defence.
Thank you, good work.
Dixon in again. More big men running.
This side.
And nightmares this evening will Hartpury about Jared Williams. Round the corner they go again. The reach and the try. And it's another good score for this Bedford pack, and there's slaps all round at the moment. They really are seemingly enjoying themselves on this Friday night in the championship.
Wave after wave, isn't it? Hits coming round. Once again, Dan Murphy trying his best, but because he fragmented the line a little bit, just all too much for safe to do inside. Bedford rightly dominating the scoreline as well as the game. If I were a back, I would most surely been in the middle of that, giving the big back slaps, because forwards are on fire.
I thought you were going to say if you were in a back, you'd get in there and try and get one yourself.
Trying to get
3 tries at half-time. They will go in. Bedford 19 at the moment, 2 points to the good, 3 good tries, forward dominance, Rob, and really at the moment it's about Hartpury in the second half having to hang on.
Yeah, they've said before they've not often faced getting 4 tries against them. It's pretty much going to happen. They need to come back out the second half, revitalise with an actual plan, because at the moment they're looking lacklustre. Bedford are outstanding this far.
I know what you mean.
It's under the lights at Goldington Road. The half-time score as they tread towards that shed is Bedford Blues 19, Hartpury College 0.
We've got penalty count.
I think what we're going to do now, we're going to have a look at one of these wonderful RFU films that have been showing how they are connecting grassroots rugby to the top level.
Now this is the law of the jungle. As old and as true as the sky. And the wolf that should keep it may prosper, but the wolf that should break it must die. Wash daily from nose tip to tail tip. Drink deeply, but never too deep. And remember, the night is for hunting. And forget not, the day is for sleep. The jackal may follow the tiger, but cub, when thy whiskers are grown, remember the wolf is a hunter. Go forth and get food of thy own. Keep peace with the lords of the jungle, the tiger, the panther, the bear, and trouble not Hattie the silent, and mock not the boar in his lair. When pack meets with pack in the jungle, and neither will go from the trail, lie down till the leaders have spoken. It may be fair words shall prevail. As the creeper that girdles the tree trunk, the roar runneth forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack.
Well, you join us at Goldington Road. It is half-time in Championship Rugby, and Rob Vickerman is alongside me. Bedford Blues, more than good for their 19-0 lead at the moment.
Yeah, to think that they've had 3 occasions where the ball's been ripped from them on that 5-metre line. Their driving maul is almighty at the moment. Far be it from anyone else to try and contest it, because it's really working. You know, they've got numbers 1 to 8 really buying into it. You've got Dixon barking the orders and Hooley put in the right place. I've got to say, Hartpury at the moment giving far too many penalties away, which is a free hit, isn't it? It's getting down to that corner and they're just immovable.
So you're in the Hartpury College dressing room. What are you saying that's positive?
Good question. I mean, when they've got the ball, they've looked a little bit like they've got a bit of shape and a little bit of intent, but at the moment they're a mile off. You know, the decision making's not there. They're not playing flat. They're not trying to attack it. When they do have the ball, they're turning it over in 1 or 2 phases. So just all too easy at the moment for Bedford. Taking nothing away from them, this isn't the Hartpury team that we're used to seeing.
OK, well, let's look at one of the Hartpury College players, because this is really quite a story. Profoundly deaf, this is a wonderful tale of how Matt Gilbert plays his rugby.
I started playing when I was 7. What I liked about rugby was just, you know, the physicality of it. You know, a bigger lad than most other kids at 7 years old, so, you know, it's quite natural for me to just get the ball and run to everyone. I came here as a student when I was 19, so back in 2005, 2006. Spent 4 years at Hartpury as a student. Obviously, after I left uni, I went to Italy for a year, and then I ended up going to West Wales and came for class training in Scarlets. Got diagnosed when I was like 5 years old. That's when I first started wearing a hearing aid. In my sort of memories of my childhood, there's no defining moment where I was like, oh, I went from, you know, not having hearing aid to having hearing aids. You know, it's just always been part of my dogma, and it's just part of who I am now. My hearing loss has gradually got worse, but you know, I'm a big believer in your own self, and you know, you have to have self-belief. Having a sort of a disability, having a hearing loss, is, you know, wanted me to prove people that, you know, I can do things, and you know, I think I never really know too much, but you know, people do doubt you. But as a deaf person, you can achieve things in life. We're privileged to be here in Championship, and everyone respects the impact that everyone before us has had. You know, obviously it's been a 12-year journey to get to Championship. As a group, we know we've got the capability to compete, and it's been physical, it's been intense, and you know, something that we're getting used to every week, and something we're actually bringing a lot more physicality to the game than we did last year in National 1. So, you know, we just got to keep bringing that every week. But you know, we're doing all right. I'm not the oldest, but you know, the boys like to remind me that I look older than everyone else. But you know, I feel like I've still got, you know, 3 or 4 years left in me. But you know, when you get to sort of, you know, into your 30s, toward the end of your career, you need to look at how you're going to earn a living after. And so I spent 6 weeks in the off-season converting an old horse trailer, and yeah, so I ended up with the galloping Bristol. I don't drink coffee myself personally, but The feedback is that it's very nice, and at the moment Galvin Bristol's going well, and if I can turn that into something bigger and better, then that would be a nice sort of way to work.
Chuckling away to himself about the fact that he doesn't actually drink the coffee.
No, albeit I wouldn't mind one now if he is around. But what incredible thing. I mean, not just the fact he's profoundly deaf and a really good rugby player, but he's thinking of things outside of rugby, which is all important, specifically in this league.
And talk about Hartpury College as well, because this is a very much a learning environment for these players.
Yeah, so these players aren't necessarily full-time rugby players. It's the highest level you can go to with the amateur status. So 11 of the 22 are students or ex-students. They have degrees. Mike Wilcox, the fullback, is a surveyor. So these guys have got other jobs as well as playing some decent level of rugby, and albeit we've not seen what they're capable of this evening, I think it's absolutely brilliant that these players can be so good and still transition into what is a real world post-playing, which for some players can be very difficult.
Is that something that you would stress to young players at 18, 19 to try and think as early as you possibly can about that later on in life?
Absolutely. I think at any level, but specifically in the Championship, where it's deemed a professional league and ultimately is a very good standard of rugby, but you've not got the support of Premiership rugby, you've not got the finances such as Premiership rugby. So for these players to think outside the box of what they're going to do next and building into an environment like we're seeing here, the corporates, everyone buys into the rugby theme, and as a player you've got a special privilege that you can really look into that and the networks around it, because that's what rugby is really about, people helping each other in that sphere.
Well, tonight in Championship rugby it has been a little bit about Bedford Blues. We can probably have a look at some of the highlights. They have been one-sided, but Bedford Blues, as I mentioned earlier, have been good for it.
Absolutely, and Lee Dixon we're seeing here have a go at getting the trial and didn't quite make it, but he's the one that's in the ear of all the forwards saying, guys, you are doing so well here. That was the try there for the big man, wasn't it? Palia Campo, he stormed over, set the precedent for the first try, and it's just continued. Every single clip you're about to see here will be from 3-4 metres out of the big men, just capitalising on how dominant they have been in that half.
That undersells it a little bit, because although it's been from 3 or 4 yards, there's been a real build-up, and Bedford have made their intentions clear to everyone.
Yeah, and it's usually come from around about a 40-metre indiscretion, a Hartpury penalty, kick to the corner from Hooley, and their set piece has been top-notch. Does help when you've got the man 6'10" we're seeing there as Carrick Smith pushes his fellow teammate over, but they've got dominant in the line out, they're dominant in the scrum. Everything about this Bedford pack has been outstanding this evening.
I've got a positive from Hartpury College, Will Safe.
Yeah, round about that same area. Twice he's stolen the ball. The driving ball, so difficult to stop, and that man has stolen 2 of them. I mean, talk about the strength of him. Must be like a crab in there, gets a lock on and he's not letting go.
What would you say as far as Bedford are concerned? Because to a certain extent it is just more of the same thing, or would you change anything?
No, keep it exactly the same. They've got the slope, they know the slope. You were saying before, it's a 10-point slope. They don't need that. They're going to be playing territory. They've got the confidence, they've got absolute execution of what their game plan is, and whilst Mike Ray did promise a bit of running rugby, he will be all smiles on his face in that change room, 90-0 up at half-time.
And what can you say about the backs and the sort of the wings? Are they going to get the ball? They must be freezing on a night like tonight.
Yeah, it gets to the point when you're out there, you don't really want it because you can't feel your hands, but I think someone like Ollie Dodge is probably a player to highlight. He's one of these 12s of the game. He's a bit old school, a bit of a Mac Tyndall. He'll go one direction. He's obviously got other skills to his game, but play to your strengths. His line running is exceptional. That means he's taking it to the defence and getting line breaks first phase, which is quite a rare thing in this day and age, but he's going to be pretty important this second half. And Hooley again just pulling the strings. Him and Dixon are killing this game. It's quality.
Yeah, and it's probably about where you want to manoeuvre your side. If you're Hooley, you just want to sort of put those dabs in, put those kicks over the top, and just make sure that your forwards can continue to do what they're doing. Yeah,
they're called forwards for a reason, aren't they? All they want to do is go in that direction, and they're doing it well. Hooley's controlling it. Dixon's in the ear of everyone. The backs do have a part to play in this game, but ultimately the forwards will decide if it's won or not.
And Hartpury College, would you make any changes? Is it a case of personnel, do you think, or bringing different people in?
Yeah, I think they've got a few injuries, so they're looking to a little bit of strength and depth to be seen from the bench. They're going to have to do something different because at the moment what they're doing just isn't good enough. And I don't mean to sound too negative, but I think it's probably quite a flattering scoreline, the amount of possession and territory this Bedford team have had in that half.
And those voices, your Ian Grieve, Luke Eves, those sort of voices are going to be crucial if they're going to get anything out of this game.
Yeah, they're all important. They're very proud men. They do not like to concede tries, and certainly in the forward pack, they're getting a bit of a muller in. You know, Dan Murphy's started to go on his own little bit of his agenda, trying to go and make the big hits, which is admirable, but doing it on your own is not going to help. They've got to have a solid effort, expect to see some changes to try and change things up. They're going to come out of a very cosy and toasty changing room into a Baltic environment with a crowd expecting to see this knife being turned from Bedford.
Well, I wonder if we can see any of the games that were the other games that are in the league this weekend. I wonder if we can bring those up. Maybe we can't. I'm hearing maybe we can't. But we've got a. We've got an opportunity in which to sort of look at two sides. Bedford perhaps with a better chance of really making a push. Can they do anything? Ealing in second, Bristol in top. Is there any chance of them creeping up there, do you think, from what you've seen this evening?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to see anyone other than Bristol winning this league, and I've said that from the outset. They've shown already having a few scary moments, only 1 point in it when they played Cornish Pirates and only 9 in it against Hartpury, so they've been pushed close. But for me, I think it's pretty much Bristol as a team going forward. It's who scraps it out for those higher performances and try and make sure that the likes of Nottingham, who are taking on Bristol this weekend, are going to have a shot. But it's looking all too formidable at the moment how good Bristol are, and their strength in depth is at times laughable.
It is, and but to a certain extent it's about trying to build as much as you possibly can, build a fortress at Goldington Road as far as Bedford Blues are concerned, and really get that, and these sort of nights when you can put these sort of teams to bed that are scrapping around, and that's what it's about. It's what Mike Ray will want to do, get good solid victories at home and then see what you can do.
Yeah, and have confidence. You know, you want to be ripping into the likes of Bristol as a team who are perhaps in second, third or fourth, thinking, I'm not going to respect them on the pitch. Obviously they've got the finances, they've got the backing, they've got the structure, but that just riles you on as a player. You want to mix it up, you want to be playing for your club, and to have 2,500 people at home here and the wider world watching online, they're moments that these players can really grow from.
Can I put you on the spot and ask about playoffs? A good thing or a bad thing that we've lost them?
I'm an advocate of getting rid of the playoffs. I think it's one step off two to look at a ring-fenced league as well. I know I had my grievances with Pat Sanderson talking about it on air once, but I think it's one of these things, when you've got such a great product as this championship, this is where you want to nurture the next generation of players. The fact that they're getting educated from Hartpury is even better for me. I think it is an untapped resource, really. The RFU are backing it, Green King as sponsors are backing it, and the platform for these players is to get into that Premiership. And this is where the future of England rugby really is.
And it's a nice balance as well, because you've got people, you don't want to say on their way down, but people who have been there. Lee Dixon is one. He's 250 games in the top flight. He's not around, is he? Before I say that he's past it. But to a certain extent, you know, that sort of experience coupled with young players is great.
Yeah, and that's what you want. The blend of experience, get used to this environment and build on it. Paul Tupai, in his 25th season, I imagine has got quite a lot to offer this forward pack. Not necessarily on the pitch as much, but been able to contribute off it as well.
He's got a few tales to tell, I can tell you, Paul Tupai, and they are back out. Bedford Blues a little bit later than Hartpury, and the temperature is certainly plummeting, but there's smiles on the faces of people around the pitch. Not so many of those on the faces of the Hartpury players. They know they've got an uphill struggle in this second half. They are 19 points adrift, and Will Hooley and his Blues team are going to play down that slope.
Yeah, you know what's coming. The Hartpury team have been talking about it in the change room, I imagine. These next first 5 minutes, all important. They know they're going to be pinned in that corner. It's how they try and get out of it.
Our referee, Mike Hudson, checks that everyone's okay and then heralds the start of this second half. Hartpury, the tempo must be increased. They sort of got themselves stuck in a rut at the end of that second half. Round the corner, down the left-hand side they go. Produce good ball.
Use it!
Still got a man in the bin. But it's a good chase, but Clement Hill does well underneath the ball and eventually makes his way to the ground, and Dixon fumbles it and then gets absolutely larruped by Joe Quinn. Carrick Smith presents, doesn't make a huge amount of yardage, but allows Dixon to get back to his feet, and captain proceedings, Camillo Perilia Campo, one of the scorers in the first half. Dixon again, Hooley out wide. Bedford just trying to find the right gap in the fence. Chekai, the man who played international rugby. Lindsay, another experienced man, half through the gap. Dixon into Penny, former Ealing man. He shored things up at Bedford, certainly scrummaging wise. Hooley quick off the floor, and Hutler went, but then forgot the ball. And Hartpury will get the scrummage. They'll bring it back in. It is there's a little bit more ambition being shown from Bedford, and it looks a bit scary if you're a Hartpury fan.
Yeah, they've got the luxury now of being able to play a little bit. They've got a bit of freelance. They've been given the scoreline. You could see there with the disappointment on Dixon's face just what that error meant to him. They want to be taking this to the next level now. Forwards have pretty much dominated the first half, but there's now a chance for the backs to really play on the back of it. If anything else, just to try and stay a bit warm.
They are back to their full complement. I can see Charlie Beckett is back on the field after his yellow card in the first half. And it's a scrum that will be Hartpury's, but they're well inside their own half, on the 10-metre line.
Sets.
It is a very still night in Bedford. Not a wind to speak of.
Use it.
But it is cold, and it is a bit dewy, a bit moist on the ground. Well, marshalled Ian Grieve can't do anything with it. Lee Dixon, it is yappying best. If yappying is a word, I think I've just made that up. Through they come again. Alex Gibson, a tight head. They needed a little bit more control at the moment. Chapman go up and under the ball. Briefly goes out of the lights at Gordington Road. Clement Hill again does really well under pressure there. Clement Hill, the young man, out of the Bedford Academy, played, done a little bit of work, and he's up and under. And it shows there. Dixon tells people what he's going to do. Forward they come and turn good ball
backwards
into possession. Eventually to Hartpury. Bedford over the ball and just slowing it down as well.
You've got the ball.
Chapman. Will Tanner is onto the pitch, and the ball is booted downfield, and Chekai will marshal this into touch, or just about gets there, and he thinks better of throwing it infield to Alex Ray.
You take the line.
Well, that was well, this is a good field position for Hartpury, certainly.
Yeah, great kick there. James Williams it was. He put it down in the corner. I think when you get a 10 who can play 12, you've always got that kicking option. Very much an Aussie style of play, and having two first receivers. But that was really clever play. A little bit stagnant. Get them in this corner.
Well, there's a bit of break in play, and that gives us a perfect segue talking about 12s, about international rugby tomorrow, and the fact that there's a real thought about a ball playing 12 for England at the moment. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to see. I'm all about having that distribution that a 12 can offer, and if he is like a second 5/8, there's a reason why Southern Hemisphere rugby have been so impressive in recent years, because they've got playmakers in the right position, and not just the men's, also the women's following it afterwards.
Okay,
we've seen how their game has really developed, specifically with the attacking style of rugby they're playing.
Line's there.
Well, this is a lineup for the Blues. Championship Rugby on the Championship Rugby website, and also you may well be watching around the world on the England Rugby Facebook page. Bedford Blues versus Hartpury. Dominant half for Bedford Blues, but Hartpury get the ball. Turnover, an opportunity here. This is exactly what they would have spoken about at half-time. First opportunity, and it's been, when I say an opportunity, as soon as I start talking them up, the referee decides we'll have a penalty the other way. What was that all about, Rob? Did you see?
Well, he said in at the side there, but it did actually look like it was some sort of short arm penalty, which went to a longer arm penalty for indiscretion of talking back to the referee or something, it seemed like. But definitely frustrating for the Hartpury team, having the ball in a good position and now seemingly being back in their own half.
Hooley clears his lines, and he goes all the way into the Hartpury half.
Thank you.
Blues a couple of weekends ago against Nottingham, totally dominant. Late on, Nottingham came back into it. Are we going to see it here? Comes back down there, and is it from the assistant referee that gets the call?
Yeah, he's sending it to the side.
Dodge, bashing through. He provides a really good platform, does Dodge. Lindsay rolls his way an extra yard or so. Lane, we haven't seen too much of Rich Lane, the former Jersey man, born in Bedford, played for the Saints as well, but made his name at Jersey and then came back. Lovely offload off the floor. Penny doing really well. Oh, and it's just knocked on, and that was more like it. The offloading from Bedford really unlocking things in the Hartpury defence, but here Hartpury come through Quinn. Luke Eves just trying to buy a few more yards for Hartpury. Trying to make this exit a little bit easier.
There is an opportunity in midfield. You see in the front rowers there, they could try and target them to play a bit of width, but at the moment it's just not happening for Hartpury. It is, however, happening for Bedford, and wave after wave, usually through Lindsay, number 2, Jared Williams, number 8, and Dodge, number 12, are making this look very comprehensive.
Well, that passage of play just there, the offloading was crucial, and the speed with which you can regurgitate the ball makes rugby a completely different game to play.
Yeah, and it's what everybody wants to see, isn't it? Offloading game, specifically with your front 5. If you get the big man making those inroads, as we saw there, Alex Penny carving it down the middle of the pitch, it's such a pleasure to watch.
Well, Hartpury are going to have to bring in a full complement. Dan Murphy with the long hair. An absolute shed loads of games for Gloucester. London Irish also part of where he's played. Quinn's originally. Loads of experience, but what has he got to add to this Hartpury side who find themselves 19 points adrift in this second half? 3 forward-dominated tries to Bedford in the first half. And at the moment, the home side, playing in front of their Goldington Road crowd, are completely dominant on the scoreboard, and Hartpury have to find their way back into this. Chapman will find Perry. Perry, the ball will stay in, just it sits up, and Chekai's got to be careful. Hutler is joining his mate to try and sort it out, and Hutler is pulled into touch. And that's a good net gain for Hartpury.
Great net gain, little bit of indecisive play from Chekai as he waited for the ball to bounce, which in rugby circles is not a clever thing to do. But really good chase, that's what you want to see. The wingers who we mentioned, Sam, have been stood out getting cold for the last 45 minutes. They had to really step up there. It was a lovely kick downfield, as we've seen a few times from Perry with his strike. And then the backs to really put the pressure on. They're happy with that. The forwards will be congratulating them for being where they are. And Murphy now gives his hooker a call, and Edson has to try and nail this line out.
We've had a substitution. Harry Cochrane is on the scrum half for Hartpury. Get him involved, I'm sure, at some stage. Ian Grieve getting up ahead of steam. There is Cochrane. Perry trying to get Akiel Smith involved. First time he's played for Hartpury in the first team this evening. Quinn. Cochrane. Perry. They're just trying to choose the right weapon, and the ball has been stolen by Bedford, and this is dangerous. Bedford will fancy this one. Oh, they surge out of defence and try and put a little bit of pressure back on Bedford. The Blues are in control. Dixon, it's not one of his fortes, trying to stop big men coming through the middle. They lose a bit of ground, but they've held on to the ball. Dixon's done well there to get back to his feet. And an absolute face full of Dan Murphy, which can't imagine is a pleasant experience. Ball is kicked down the field. Wilcox, the man you mentioned, the accountant, turns the favour.
Bedford hold.
Hooley, bit of kick tennis, but now there's a little bit of space. Out wide is Smith. Smith hesitates, comes back inside, trying to try each door handle on his way past and find a way through. Back against the grain comes Williams. He's done okay at the moment, James Williams. Can play 10 or 12 as mentioned earlier. Cochrane. Ball has been in the hands of Hartpury for a while, and this is always gets the confidence up. Down the left-hand side, can they get the final offload away? They can't. Will Safe manages to recycle the ball though. Joe Quinn is well stopped, well tackled by Penny. Cochrane thinks he sees a little bit of gap. Chekai, the ball is bouncing awkwardly. Clement Hill needs a bit of communication. Chekai chucks the long pass out. Hutler
Hold on.
thumps it downfield. Ball is bouncing again. And it's Williams trying to find a bit of space, but referee says, well, it's a high tackle. Not a good passage of play. That was something we perhaps didn't have in the first half. A little bit of something for everyone there, Rob.
There was indeed lots of action there. There's a few players with a bit of black smoke coming out. It's the only bad thing when it is as cold as this. You can see how quickly you are breathing. But there was everything to look out for, a bit of footwork. I must say, I think Cochrane's impressively raised the tempo of this game, as you can see a bit of a high shot from the biggest man on the pitch. It must be difficult for Carrick Smith to not make those types of tackles with his arm being round about 6 foot in the air anyway. Good little bit of play from Hartpury. The tempo was raised, but they're still not getting the offloads like Bedford are.
But they are getting the ball, and it makes a bit of difference, doesn't it, really, when you get your hands on the ball, you get phase after phase, you can start to build confidence, you can start to remember what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think Cochrane's got an honourable mention there. Number 21, he's got the blonde hair, keep an eye out for him. Because he is so quick to the base of these rucks when the ball's on the floor, it's in and it's out, and that's what this Hartpury team need. They need fast ball with a tiring Bedford defence coming round the corner. That's going to be the key to them if they do hope to get a little bit of inroads in the next 30 minutes.
A couple of substitutions and people still receiving attention. Bit of running repairs to the Bedford man, but the referee says to Jacob Perry, you can have a kick. He doesn't kick it in. Doesn't kick it to touch, which is absolutely criminal, and Hartpury's woes continue. Should have really made sure they're safe. He is safe under that ball. Wilcox, the man who's just received a little bit of attention there, immediately gets an opportunity to clear his lines. It's dear old Rich Lane, who's the physio had only just wrapped the tape around his head before he leapt to his feet to gather the ball.
And the caked in on his head now, he's very recognisable, but what a clearance kick, big left foot boot on the ball there. To get to the far 10 from that type of field position is a really good effort, and again, it now means that Hartpury have to start from scratch.
That missed penalty, probably crucial.
Criminal, absolutely. I mean, if you're looking at your kicker there, you're thinking, that is our chance to get back in this game. At 52 minutes, it was all important that it was put out.
Cochrane, Clement Hill again, turns on the gas, he's quite quick, Clement Hill, you've got to keep your eye on him. Hooley finding men, Dodge is one of them, and he does try and dodge the attentions of Luke Eves, but to no avail. Penny.
Tackle! He's
gone forward. Dixon is slapping people on the head, tell him to get out of the way. Dixon into Lindsay. Lindsay holds, and Hutler can't hold on to the ball. Bit of opportunity here. Wilcox sniffs it on the outside, flings the ball wide. Hartpury coming down the left-hand side. They recycle the ball. Cochrane into Grieve. Grieve bashes people out of the way. My mistake, it's not Grieve, it's BJ Edwards, the Australian. Hands, Hartpury, this is better from them. Through the gap, almost, but recycles, and Cochrane doing well.
And this is when it slows down. They've got to keep the tempo high. When the pressure's on the defence, that's when errors happen. Cochrane has to keep this ball fast.
No. 21 no.
I think the referee's going to have a little word here. Persistent infringements. Was Hartpury in the first half? It's another high tackle, is it? Have a little word, perhaps. And
9. Just tell me you want it.
It's almost in exactly the same position as all of those penalties given. How important is it that this one goes into touch? And still, pretty brave effort there. You think if you miss a kick and touch, you stay a little bit safer. And this is the high tackle. We can see it when the attack are running with pace and power, errors happen. It could be something as simple as the high tackle because players aren't set, they're chasing the game. This now is all important. Top right-hand corner, 19-0, Hartpury in the red, need to get this score to get them back in this game.
Now you talk about moments in the game.
There's 2 coming off as well.
The club captain Michael Abujoir has come on for Bedford. Also Sean McCarthy has come on in the front row for the Blues, for the home side. But this is vital. Well taken. They set it. Infield they come. Oh, they got the trundle on. This was almost a carbon copy of what the Bedford Blues were doing in the first half, and this gap has opened up for Will Tanner. Tanner is through. A former Bath and Bath Academy man, and well, this is a nice story. He runs the equestrian side down at Hartpury, and he's cantered through there. Do you see what I've done?
It's just nice for you to use other than their surname as your verb there, Sam. That's outstanding. But have a look at this dummy. Out the back, one-handed flick. Everybody bought it. And look at the emotion. That's great try. That's when you get your forwards giving big raps.
There you go, Will Tanner. Nice moment for him. And has that just changed the complexion of the game? Have Hartpury just found their feet? It's taken them 55 minutes. But are they going to be able to get a little bit more of a grip in this game?
And it's exactly the same pattern, Sam. Penalty 40 metres out, kick to the 5-metre line, driving maul. Slightly audacious finish from the hooker. He'll be telling some stories about how it was a Sonny Bill-like dummy later on, I'm sure, but very critical. We said about 55 minutes on the clock. They needed to score, and what better way than giving the big men a bit of confidence?
Yeah, we gave it a build-up, this slope, and all the points have gone against it. What do we know about this game, Rob Rickerman? What do we know?
Well, I'm glad it's been up here, because we're a lot closer to this corner than we are the next one. That slope is a long, long way away, but look at that. Throwing the ball up, big pump. This next 5 minutes, once again now, got to get the forwards in the right area and not start a game like that.
There's an odd saying in rugby about a restart. You haven't scored until you've gathered the restart, and Hartpury haven't done that. Le Bourgeois, Edgson, the man on at hooker, have made the original inroad. Lovely hands and a little bit of footwork from Alex Ray. I think they'll look at it. Rich Lane scampers over. I think they'll have a discussion. Was the referee giving it? Certainly the Bedford players yet. Alex Ray with a little dab through there. I'd like to have another look at that. It was pretty skillful.
I love the fact that the most celebrations that are happening there were around Alex Ray for that ridiculous flick on. I mean, this is like Messi-esque. Ball on the floor, flicks it up. Next thing you know, look at this. There it goes. They'll be sat in the reviews. Have a look at this. He's a player coach. He'll be taking the meeting saying, can we just watch that one again, please? That was amazing.
He's turned around before he scored it to say, that was pretty good, boys. Did you see that?
He got 5 handshakes before the try was scored.
Unfortunately for Hartpury College, that is the exact opposite of what they wanted to happen. Everything that you wanted, you said it at the gathered restart, it was spill, and unfortunately you're your own enemy.
Yeah, and it's Alex Ferguson's idiom, wasn't he? He always used to talk about that phase after the play, after the score. That's when you're most vulnerable, so really stick tight. One knock on. Seen there quite clearly how capable Le Bourgeois is when he comes on. He's a very special player. He beat a few defenders, but hat tip to Alex Ray. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll have to have a word with him a little bit later and just get him to talk us through it, because I've never seen it done before, but there you go. Such quick thinking. We'll put it down to that. Will Hooley. With the successful conversion. That is the 4th try. That's the bonus point for Bedford Blues. And that is something that they would have been thinking about. The bonus point score at home is crucial.
Yeah, and it all came from this little scuppered ball, the bouncing ball, the left foot of Alex Ray. He just starts walking backwards. That is really good play from him. But you're right, it's the first time they've had that 4 tries against them.
We will restart through the boot of Joe Perry. And I thought we were going to have Hartpury on the bounce, but it seems as though Bedford have got a little bit of a feel about them now.
Yeah.
Steam is coming off them.
No. Use it!
Jordan Burns on at scrum half for Bedford Blues. He's electric and give him a bit of space, but it's Hartpury who are building down that side, and a foot in touch on that far side, a saving tackle.
Ian, who's your captain here now? Who's captain now?
There's this, oh, look at that. It gets better the more you look at it.
He's just so casual. That's what I like about it. He flicks it up and starts walking backwards. You did that on the old Soft Graham special back in the day.
Line up for Bedford to think about. Edgerton, a former Hartpury man, Edgerton. Played his rugby alongside the likes of Ellis Genge and Johnny Hill, who's at Exeter for Hartpury College.
Advantage.
Oh, that's unlucky. I was going to say that, just thought that might have been great bit of vision to kick that through, but it's kicked at the prone man. And Hartpury have got it. Well, what do we do now then? Hartpury struck back and we thought that maybe that was it, but Bedford have kind of shut that door a little bit. We go back to where we are with Hartpury. What are you saying to them?
Yeah, disappointing first of all from the error from Bedford. It's a really good place to attack from. Speculative kick, as you mentioned, from Williams there. But it's still a game that can be here to be won. Hartpury need to know that they can score tries. They've seen how it's happened with their forwards. I think for the next 5 minutes, certainly, they need to just get their backs in the game a little bit more, because as it stands, they just not had the ball enough.
A good position for Hartpury, and Harry Cochrane is the assistant groundsman, Harry Cochrane,
You guys need to find space.
at Hartpury.
Get on his outside.
He doesn't look like a groundsman. The groundsmen I know don't look like Harry Cochrane. He looks like a boy band man.
Head on head.
Should the groundsman look like? Yeah, fair enough. I think he just probably mows the grass rather than sits in a big machine to do it. He's pretty fit, isn't he? He gets around the pitch. I really like what he's brought to this team in these last 10 minutes, but you know, ultimately they're judged by the scoreline at the moment, which is all about Bedford.
Crouch!
Brief pause. Steam rising off the two packs.
Set!
Huge amount of power and torque going through those shoulders.
Use it!
Hartpury through Grieve, bring it forward. And loose ball again. It's been a bit of a theme of the evening. Means that Hartpury have to go backwards before they come forwards.
And it fragments play. They spend so much time, these teams, working on set piece with a clean ball, with systems and structure and pods, numbers to breakdowns and everything. As soon as you break it up, it becomes very difficult to become fluent once more.
Oh, a bit of a gap for Perry. Onto it in a flash is Williams.
Advantage, stock on. Advantage over.
And there goes Jordan Burns, and I told you he was quick. Jordan Burns scorches away down that right-hand touchline. Super tackle from Perry. Try-saving tackle from Perry. Can they recycle the ball? Edgerton is in there, and Clements Hill has been pushed away from the ball, and Hartpury may breathe again. Cochrane clears his lines. The ball hasn't gone out though. Hutler will bring it back in field, and Rich Lane is waiting. Here is Ray as well. He decides to head back towards his fellow man. Didn't like the open space out here, and he goes back towards his forwards. Burns, who made that run. Hooley. Adams, lost ball again. Hutler will have to try and go again. He gets away. Smith brings him down from behind. Oh, super find, super line, and the offload almost. Josh Bagia to Edgerton. Well, it's opening up, Rob Vickerman. We are starting to see the game of rugby that we were promised.
Yeah, and it came back down to that referee line, didn't it? Send the first half, good man to run, that's the referee. Did exactly that, Gear popping it up. It was on a plate for Edson. All he needed to do was just keep it in his hands. So frustrating when you see that rugby. You want to be rewarded for it, but that last play just not quite there for them.
Well, the game is breaking up a little bit, and of course Bedford are more than happy. That missed kick, keeping the ball in field, and as the game goes on, these players are going to tire, and some of the pace that they brought on Jordan Burns is very quick, and you just can't give him any gaps. Harry Cochrane will feed this scrum. He's complaining about it. The ball eventually makes its way back. Grieve brings it forward. He lines up Le Bourgeois. This is a better position. Cochrane is firing people into that, trying to get a guard so he can clear the ball. It's up, hasn't gone out. Hutler is underneath it. He gets up in the air, and he's met on his way down by Akior Smith. Good work on the floor from Tanner. Has he turned that over? I think he has. Cochrane running quick. Smith almost, but intercepted again. Hooley does well. Bedford have got the ball back. Burns to Edgerton. He's added a little bit. His
No,
Edgerton,
still in.
despite spilling that ball, that gilt-edged chance a little bit earlier. Carrick Smith bashing at the Hartpury line. Hooley charged down. He manages to gather the ricochet. Will Safe is onto him in a flash.
High tackle.
He's been
7 red, high tackle.
high again from the referee. Another high tackle.
Yeah, penalties once again coming to this game against the Hartpury team. You can see Cochrane trying to keep the tempo high, break on the right-hand side with Smith with him, but throwing the ball away once again. That's where you need to keep hold of it. There's a couple of things that this Hartpury team are doing that really do show that they've still got a bit of an edge. The way they track back from a line break, that's admirable. The turnovers and competition at the ruck still suggest they're well and truly in this game. But those types of moments, giving the ball away, turning it over again, make this scoreline seem slightly too far to get.
And Bedford will march their way downfield to this line-out.
Nice right.
And this Scoldington Road crowd is quite a good one for a Friday night. A couple of weekends ago they had nearly 3,000 people in here, which is good by championship standards. Certainly Hartpury would wish for that sort of crowd at home. Bedford very well supported in the championship. Ball is looping back into Hartpury's hands. Good work from Ducker, Cornish flyer.
Yeah, come inside.
Using his physical prowess there, though. Williams trying to run it up from deep. Bedford could have the answers here, though. Got to be careful, Hartpury. In goes BJ Edwards, this Australian second row. Played at Bristol and at Cardiff. Eves, another Bristol man. Working in the short spaces, Ian Grieve presents the ball. Forward come Hartpury, they've made a little bit of ground, that's their 22 they're outside of now. Cochrane has runners, one of them is Edwards. Cochrane, Tanner, the try scorer for Hartpury. Bedford just slowing it down there.
That's exactly it, they're just controlling the pace of the ruck, Sam. It's going nowhere, they're disrupting it, it's really good defence. All Hartpury want is quick, fragmented play, and at the moment this team, they're just not letting them have it.
It is difficult, certainly for Hartpury to do anything other at the moment. Bedford just able to cope with everything they're throwing at them. And to make the matters worse, the figure of Paul Tupai is on the pitch, wearing 19. 25 years of top-flight rugby in New Zealand and England. Incredible specimen. You'd like to be going, wouldn't you? Well, perhaps not playing some of the shadier parts of town that Paul Tupai plays in, but incredible athlete, Paul Tupai.
Yeah, it's remarkable, isn't it? I mean, often people are watching this, perhaps playing vets rugby. This guy is a bit of an anomaly, you know. To play 25 years of any type of rugby is good enough. To do it at the level he has really is testament to his durability, and he's also one of the most horrible men on a rugby pitch. So expect to see him loving the fact that they're dominating this game up front, and he'll be winding some people up, that's for sure.
Burns feeds this scrummage. Adams makes a little bit of room for Burns, and this back line pops into action. Le Bourgeois, but he's stopped because the referee says, no, you don't. That was a forward pass. And Hartpury will get the ball back.
A little bit of Peyton Manning there, first receiver. The quarterback throwing the ball forward.
What's the chat now with Hartpury, because they are in this game. I know the scoreline doesn't suggest that, but they are playing a part in this second half.
Yeah, the things you want to be saying as the playmakers and people who are making decisions is don't die with the music in you guys, you know. Okay, we're down, it's absolutely freezing, everything's against us, but ultimately you've got to play, you've still got to take this game to them. Cochrane's setting that example, he's keeping the tempo high. And other than that, you know, they've got a willing to play. The problem is they're not keeping the ball long enough to exploit that.
Look at the steam that rises off the packs.
I feel like a bit of a disclaimer to make here, because I've talked all the way through this game about how entertaining Championship rugby is, and this is the fact that it's, what, 9 o'clock now on a Friday night. It is Baltic, and everybody is still wanting to play rugby. Expansive rugby with offloading forwards. That's a real testament to these guys, and it shows that, you know, with the right conditions, perhaps, how different this game could look.
How important is Championship rugby for England rugby? I know it sounds strange to say, but there are a fair few in that England rugby side playing tomorrow against Samoa who have played here and have done that not too long ago.
Yeah, and the Saracens' backbone has pretty much been derived from having the ability to dual register players. For me, younger players need to play. It's the best way of learning the game. There is no benefit of being a wider squad player in the Premiership, calling yourself a Premiership player, but not ever getting on the pitch. This is where you learn rugby.
Grieve has lost the ball, and it's been beautifully dabbed off the turf, and Le Bourgeois is through and firing towards the line. Bedford, they really do sort of come out of nowhere at you. Hartpury have got to scramble. Bajia, a former Hartpury man himself, who'd love to get over the line against his former side. The referee is having a chat with Jordan Burns about using it. That break, the electric. All of a sudden they're into the 22, and the referee gives the penalty against them.
And it's that man again, number 7, Will Self.
Will Self? Will Safe.
Will Safe. He's quite as intelligent as Will Self. He's not as good with his words. But, you know, he's someone that really does show their cause, but you just can't kick the ball away. It's just aimless.
And they've missed the penalty again, and Rich Lane says, thank you very much, we'll have a go. I didn't realise you were wanting us to have the ball back. Again, good work over the ball, but not rolling away, and therefore penalised despite that work of Mike Fluke.
I'll let you have the Fluke line on him.
No, I see, now once you said this about the, I'm not going to do it again. Never going to do it again. Well, I might do. The crowd is still here, still enjoying themselves on a Friday night in Bedford.
I think they've moved on to the mulled wines now. They've gone for a bit of warmth.
Where are our mulled wines? Is there a man that brings them?
You come this way. You see the forlorn looks now. This is where it can get really difficult as a forward pack. They've grafted all the substitutes now, and you can see up front. They want to try and show the coach that pick me next week, I can do a better job, but it's a tough thing to see.
Taylor off the top, Le Bourgeois through the gap. It's almost too simple. The Bedford captain is over. And was that a little bit of the fatigue and the mental as well as physical creeping into Hartpury's game?
No, on the basis that we saw Dodge run a very similar line from 12, it was poor defence. The back of the line-out is what they call a transitional point, so there's always a bit of a gap there from when the forwards try and link up with the backs. Le Bourgeois, he spots it, he runs straight the outside of Greaves, and it was a touch tackle. It wasn't attempted to try and hit him. It was clearly obvious where he was running. I wouldn't say it's necessarily outstanding attack because he's ran a straight line. It's poor defence, but it's executed well from Bedford again.
Hooley with the extra points, and it is now starting to look emphatic for Bedford, which is a little bit unfair on Hartpury because the narrative of the game certainly has had Hartpury more in this than their scoreboard suggests.
And this is by far the biggest difference in score that Hartpury have been accustomed to this season. They only got beaten by 9 points by Bristol. Every other game they've lost has been within 3. So for them to put up this kind of a poor performance isn't doing themselves justice to the wider world, got to say that. But at the moment, Bedford looking every single point worthy.
The restart wasn't gathered, and I think it bounced into touch, which a little bit of a chat between the assistant referee and the referee, and it's Bedford ball. Is it an advantage playing on a Friday night and getting a score, getting a win on a Friday night and enjoying the rest of the weekend and watching the other results roll in on a Saturday?
There's a 3-part answer to that one, Sam. It's great to play on a Friday night, very different atmosphere, very different vibe for the crowd. It's great to win, and I think it also sets a precedence that this Hartpury team have had to travel up today, been on a bus for far too long, and that's clearly shown in their performance.
Bedford gather it, roll it forward. They were certainly dominant in the first half, and they're showing again now their forward presence. Burns will grab it and give it to his backs. Bourgeois playing first receiver. Hooley with the big pass out wide. Chekai to Hutler. Hutler, what an offload to Chekai. Hauled down just outside the 22. Burns again, more good hands, quick hands from Bedford. Now we're starting to see that sort of back play that was spoken about before the game. Hooley again trying to find the right pass, but it's tackled in midfield. Grieve with the snaffle. Tupai with the link, out wide. Through the gap goes Sean McCarthy. A little bit of open posture for the prop forward, but the ball has been knocked on. And this is a little bit more like it, and I can see there's a little bit of a smile on your face because the alacrity, the speed with which Bedford are pressing is pleasing on the eye.
Absolutely, it's great rugby, and this is what we've always been saying can happen in these types of games. It opens up, it becomes a different type of energy. The crowd feel it more, the viewers will be feeling it more, and the players, they want to do these little pass-ons. You can see Paul Tupai there, he's stood still, but he's bringing two people in against him, and it's a lovely little tip pass. Rugby's not a complicated game. If you keep playing flat, you keep moving forward, it just looks great. I mean, Le Bourgeois, to bring him on, is something of, you know, a masterstroke. Smith finding himself a little bit lost there. Chekai picking an outside line. It's just all too easy. Bedford are getting over the gain line. They're making their runs, they're making their carries, and they're looking absolutely impressive.
And as soon as you get in behind a side like Hartpury on an evening like tonight, they're going to scramble, going to try and work. You have to work really hard to get back through and with it. Bedford 33 points to the good. Hartpury 7. 5 tries to the home side. That'll be what they came for this evening, certainly. A minimum return at home. Goldington Road, that's what it wants. Hartpury will build from deep. Ball has been lost. Nick Carpenter, who's on the field, another former Bristol man, has lost it forward, but the actual ball is going to go back for a knock-on from Bedford. And Tupai just introducing himself to a few people. And we've got to try and come up with a man of the match. I assume it's going to come from the home side, but there's been quite a few to pick from.
Yeah, definitely, and I think most of them have been 1 to 8. You can see now all the subs on, as with Hartpury. Bedford have brought on their replacements who have done an admirable job. Difficult one, I think. You know, it's got to be one of the forward pack and how they've really got into this game. Carrick Smith has been outstanding. I think his line-out prowess has shown throughout the game, as well as his carries. But I'd probably say the captain / coach, Alex Ray, has been the standout. He is the Green King IPA man of the match. He's also probably going to take the review on this, so fair raps. That little kick probably summed it up, but actually more than that, it's his graft, it's his 80-minute performance. He's an experienced performer.
He's done very well, and I thought you might go for him if for no other reason that cheeky little knock through. But he's been an important part of it. But as you say, you could have picked a number of them because it has been a pretty holistic approach from Bedford Blues, and A-Ray sort of represents that as a man.
A-Ray, is that his Hollywood nickname?
That is his. I've given it away. That's his Hollywood nickname, Alex Ray. And as you say, a player coach here at Bedford Blues, so you'll probably have something to say. It's always nice when you get to show the young boys that you can still do it. Yeah, and very difficult position to be in, because if you are a player coach, you're accountable for everything that you do and some, as well as team tactics. It's your own performance, but he's been brilliant. Hartpury through Nick Carpenter. That's better from Carpenter. Carried outside. Eves. Big bashes still coming in. Bedford are still going to have to be on their toes defensively, and they will be talking about not letting Hartpury off the hook. Missed runners. Said before about how this Bedford team do play a game. They're always about their attack, but their defence has actually been more impressive this game. They're always putting pressure on, they're making their one-on-one shots, and they're managing to turn ball over. Their average score for is usually 32 points, so they're slightly better than that, but normally get 22 against them, of which they're nowhere near. So admirable defensive effort. I think we might have a chat with the management of Bedford, but down the left-hand side goes Ducker. Ducker getting away from his man. Oh, but Chekai's in attendance and able to get that ball. Chekai's done well. Referee hasn't seen anything. Oh, he has, but from red and then blue. So the ball comes back from on the Bedford side, and actually the referee has decided that will be enough. And that is full time at Goldington Road. Handshakes all round. And it's Bedford who've come away the victors, and deservingly so, Rob Vickerman. That has been a very good Bedford performance.
Yeah, it's been brilliant from Bedford. I've got to say, it's been a sub-performance from Hartpury, the biggest defeat they've had this year in terms of points difference, but take nothing away. Bedford have been wave after wave. They've been relentless. Their set piece has been formidable. They've scored their driving mauls. They've looked dangerous. They've had offloading rugby. There's about 2,500 people here that will be leaving this ground hugely happy and entertained at what they've just seen for the last 80 minutes.
From a Hartpury point of view, how do you pick the bones out of it? What do you sort of hang on to from their point of view?
There's not a lot in that game. I think, normally when you see a Hartpury team play, they're not used to losing for a start. Last year they won 30 out of 30 games, many of which by some handsome scores. They've been put under pressure and they've just not been ruthless. When they've had the ball, they've given it away. We always say about how simple the game of rugby is, about momentum, territory and execution. They've had none of that.
Full-time score at Goldington Road, Bedford Blues 33, Hartpury College 7, and it's a successful evening for Bedford Blues. We can have a look at some of the highlights that have been scattered through this game. This was the try for Hartpury, and a well taken, and we did think that maybe with Will Tanner going through, this could be the start of something.
Yeah, we talked about the revival. Tanner there, out the back, but then this happened. Turnover ball, Alex Ray. I could watch that all day. Flicked it on, converted there. You can see Rich Lane, he's been good all day, actually. Really dominant performance from him. And then once again, from a set piece, we've seen driving maul after driving maul there. This time, but the Bourgeois came on inside centre, making it look all too easy with the line break. Lovely straight line, easiest line in rugby, run straight, but that's how easy it can be. And it was just a relentless performance from a very impressive Bedford team.
Was it more about the fact that Bedford played in the right areas and did the right things at the right time? Was that what made it look so simple in a way?
Yeah, they did the right things at the right time, but they were given the ability to do so by the amount of penalties that Hartpury gave away. Specifically that first half, I counted 5 or 6 in this bottom right-hand corner. The result from that was a driving maul, of which we saw how ruthless they were with it. Bearing in mind how incredible Will Safe was in turning over 2 of them, it could have been a lot more.
So they go off the field. We'll hopefully get an opportunity in which to speak to the player, maybe even the man of the match, certainly the management after the game. But Rob, as far as Bedford Blues are concerned, they've got something to build from the rest of their season. It seems a difficult place to come to, Goldington Road.
And that's what you want. You want it to be a fortress. Everyone says it, but this ultimately is what it's about. The Bedford team we're looking at here have only lost 3 times this season, 2 against the teams above them and 1 against Yorkshire Carnegie away also. So they'll be really confident in where they're going. For them, it's about a year of building on what they've got. They're a very dangerous team to play at home. The crowds are building, the corporate side of things are going. This, for me, is traditional rugby. There are hundreds of kids here watching. They've been entertained. They're going to come back knowing that Bedford is a team that they want to be a part of.
The full-time score there tells a tale. Hartpury College, this dip continues. They haven't got a win, and it will be about looking at the next available opportunity to put a performance in and then hopefully get a win and get back on track.
Yeah, and again, they're not used to losing. For them, this year was about growth and development. There are 11 students in that team, either present or ex-students. So for them, they're about developing a real ethos of playing entertaining rugby, but also being accurate, which sadly they've just not been today.
The Greene King IPA Championship result then on the Friday night at Goldington Road. Bedford Blues 33 points and 6 tries to Hartpury College, just 7. Maybe we will get an opportunity in which to speak to a few of the people involved in the game. So we've got a game that's played out under lights, and you mentioned about the night time and the fact that it is a little bit more difficult to do and get a result. They've done exactly the right things you mentioned and done it well tonight.
Yeah, and they've earned their weekend off. That's the other thing. As a player, I used to love the Friday night games. It's a real different vibe. You've got the ability to spend all day thinking about what's going to come up, and conversely, you know the opponents have got a long day with travel incorporated.
Well, let's see who we can speak to after the game. Oh, we can. Alex Ray, can you hear us? Alex Ray down on the pitch?
Yeah.
You can. Good stuff, Alex Ray. Well, a good win for Bedford Blues. How was it for you out on the pitch?
Yeah, do you know, we never really hit our straps, I don't think, today. It was credit to Hartpury, it was a hard game. Do you know, it's probably one of we're known for playing for the backs, and we just got going today, which is probably a credit to Hartpury.
Yeah, and the forward dominance was there all day, Alex. We've been calling it in commentary. How difficult was it to ride that Hartpury attack but use your platform of your forwards?
Yeah, do you know, they were going to come out and throw the kitchen sink at us, and do you know, to be honest, the first 10 minutes we were defending, but I think we got our energy from our defence in the first 10 minutes, and we were very clinical in the green zone.
And Ray, I'm not going to be able to let you go without talking about that amazing little toe poke that you put through for Rich Lane's score. I mean, the speed of thought that you must have to be able to do that's incredible, Alex.
And I think of myself as a footballer, so no, he's probably just got lucky.
Make a change to your highlight reel from carries, I think, so you got to get that on there.
That's my second one this season, so a couple of kicks this year.
Oh, he keeps the tally. What do you say to that Bedford Blues side in the shed afterwards? Congratulations. Anything to work on?
Yeah, plenty to work on. You know, I'm pretty sure, and all the players aren't going to be satisfied with that. We really want to go through the gears. Yeah, plenty to work on. You know, I'm pretty sure, and all the players aren't satisfied. We really want to go through the gears in this half. You know, to be honest, Jimmy, I like it, and we want to stay close to the crowd again. You know, there's plenty to work on. Points up. You know, we can't be too disheartened.
Well, apologies for the sound quality there. I think we've lost Alex Ray. We're not able to speak to him for any longer, but he's going to be happy with that, isn't he? Because not only have they done well, he personally has had a little moment there.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to credit how hard that forward pack grafted. You know, he's saying there that we want to get the backs in the game more and try and get them playing an entertaining brand of rugby, but that was, you know, ruthlessly efficient from the forward pack there. Also helps that he is the player coach, so he's not just a happy player, he's also a happy coach.
How difficult is it about being a player coach? Bedford have got two of them on the pitch this evening, Lee Dixon and Alex Ray. How difficult is it trying to balance both of those?
I think it comes down to accountability. So if you are a coach, you've always got to separate yourself from that performance side of things, whereas if you're a player coach, you've got to not only instill a belief and style of play, but also have to do the reviews and really talk about what your decisions were on the pitch as well. It's a very difficult line to balance being a player and a coach, for sure.
And what about Hartpury College as regards their blend, because they've got some very experienced players in there? How important is their job at the moment to get this team back up onto its feet?
I think it's a real challenge for them and something that they're not used to. You know, these are inexperienced players at this level. It's the first time they've ever played at Bedford as a club, so they're going through a lot of growth, a lot of change. They've got to have that confidence that they are good players. That's not going to change. They're going to have teams playing a different way against them, and certainly the ones that will be watching next week will be seeing how dominant they can be up front. But ultimately, this is a challenge for these Hartpury players, and they have to rise to it.
I think we're able to speak to a director of rugby, and hopefully it is the happy one. Well, a smile. Oh, he's not happy. Mike Raya, how was that for you this evening? Did it do what you wanted it to?
It ticks the box, and we got a fair amount right. I thought we were nice and efficient at times, and pretty controlled, especially first half playing up the slope. But obviously, I mean, it'd be nice to finish off a few of them line breaks that we created second half. We just got a bit clumsy inside the green zone there, and you know, could have been a bit more daylight between us at crucial times. But hey ho, we got the job done and 5 points.
Well, we mentioned before the game, Mike, about the 7:45 kick-off on a Friday. Do you think that was a factor in how you started, conversely how they started?
No, look, I thought we kind of knew they were going to come and play. And what impressed me most about our side, for most of the game, our defence was magnificent. We shut them out and didn't allow them to grow, because they obviously had a fairly young side out today. So yeah, look, it was pretty icy out here, pretty frosty. We got a lot of right, but there was just one or two handlings, and I guess that just becomes, as a coach, that just becomes really frustrating.
Are you building something here at Bedford Blues? Seems to be you're people who a team who like to suggest that they're people are underachievers to a certain extent and catch people off guard. Are you building something kind of special here? There's a good result last weekend up at Castle Park, and some good home victories as well.
Well, look, yeah, I've been building it for 12.5 years, Sam, as you know. Yeah, look, we've got some quality players through our recruitment over the summer, and we are still building, there's no doubt about that. But, you know, we've got to be pleased with where we are at this stage. It's whether we can kick on, whether we've got another gear. We've got a tough game with Pirates next week, and after that we're back into the BNI Cup. So next week we set a sort of little mini target over these 4 games in the league, and at the moment we're kind of on target to hit them.
Thank you, Mike, and enjoy your Friday night. I'm sure you will.
Thanks, Sam. Always a pleasure.
Well, there we go. A good win, Rob Vickerman, for Bedford Blues. Hartpury not quite at the races this evening.
I think that perfectly sums it up there, Sam. There were too many errors from Hartpury. Conversely, Bedford got a hold of the game and they did not let go of it. Dominant in every aspect. Probably a word we've said 3,000 times tonight, but it really does show how well they played. Bedford are grown as a team. We heard from Mike Ray there what they're about. For me, they are one of the teams that can compete at the top level of this championship.
Well, that's just about it from us here at Goldington Road. Another performance from everyone here, especially my partner in crime, Rob Vickerman. Well done, congratulations, and a good win for Bedford Blues in the RFU Green King IPA Championship. That's about it from us this evening. Have a very good weekend.